forces strike during two daring raids targeting top al-Qaeda operatives in Africa.
In Libya, Anas al-Libi, the terrorist and mastermind behind the 1998 U.S. embassy bombings in East Africa, has been captured. The Pentagon says he will be brought back to the United States and he will stand trial. He's been on the FBI's most wanted list for years. He had a $5 million bounty on his head.
And hours earlier, Navy SEALs sneaking into Somalia. Their target, a high-level al-Shabaab operative linked to the mall massacre in Kenya. They took heavy fire and had to withdraw. No American troops were injured in either raid. So exactly how big a threat are these Africa-based terror networks? Are the terrorists on the run for long, or are they still in this fight? Joining us now is Ryan Mauro, National Security Analyst at Clarion Project. Nice to see you this morning, Ryan. Welcome to the show.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
When Secretary Kerry says that they are on the run, no matter where you go, we will find you. Is that true? We know that, in fact, we went into Somalia and tried to get the top guy in this network, and he ran away, and we couldn't find him. So is that true? Are they on the run, and are we really clamping down on al-Qaeda or picking off these leaders doing enough?
Although I have criticisms of the overall strategy against radical Islamic terrorist groups, when it comes to al-Qaeda, the administration has been pretty strong. And this is an example of that. In Somalia, even if they didn't get the top guy, the leader of al-Shabaab, who is directly threatening the United States, he has talked about attacking us here on the homeland, just the simple fact that we had actionable intelligence, which means probably a spy on the inside or an intercepted phone call, is very important to their psyche, because what that shows is that they may have a traitor in their midst. And according to witnesses, right after the raid took place, they did a house-by-house search in the immediate area because they were so convinced that they had a traitor among them. And that's very good from a counterterror. Al-Shabaab did, yes.
So what's behind the timing of these missions?
Well, they're saying that it didn't happen at the exact same time out of any other reason than they had the same opportunity at around the same time. But it could mean that the two groups were coordinating and that the two groups were communicating. So if you go after one leader and it's the result of an intercepted phone call or a courier that you captured, you're going to want to go after both at the same time because they're going to tip each other off.
Now, you mentioned that al-Shabaab hasn't attacked us here on the homeland, which is fantastic, but are they capable of doing so?
Oh, without a doubt. They have networks here in the United States. They've recruited over 40 Americans that we know of into their ranks. They have an actual infrastructure in the United States because you have to not only radicalize these individuals, you have to recruit them, arrange their travel, pay for it, and we also know that they're smuggling operatives across the Mexican border. There was an individual arrested in Virginia that admitted to the fact that he had smuggled over 270 Somalis into the country, and he was working for al-Shabaab, so we can only imagine what these people were like.
Well, I mean, that's not even necessary because church groups have brought so many Somalis to this country and resettled them in Minnesota and Maine and in other places. Is the FBI concerned that those refugee communities in the U.S. pose a threat to the United States?
Oh, without a doubt, because of the trend of radicalization in those communities, because although most Somali Americans obviously are not terrorists, you still have a significant number that are not assimilating into American society. And that's one of the first indicators of an extremist ideology, is when you're rejecting Western beliefs and Western culture around you, and you're basically putting a bubble around yourself, and that's where radicalism breeds. I'm also very excited about the individual that we captured in Libya, because he lived in Iran for about 10 years. And the Obama administration says that al-Qaeda and Iran struck a secret deal where Iran is allowing al-Qaeda operatives to move in and out of their country. And this individual is going to allow us to understand that relationship more. And it's a scary relationship.
You talked about actionable intelligence, and which is what led to these missions. So there are those sitting there this morning saying, wait a second, actionable intelligence. We have photos of the guys who went into Benghazi and attacked the consulate there. We, in fact, know where some of them are. We have actual actionable intelligence about where they have been positioned. Why don't we have a similar Navy SEAL raid into those areas as well?
Because of the cost-benefit analysis is what they would argue. They say it's not worth the risk of putting our guys on the ground and in harm's way for those individuals. They would rather take a more patient approach, and the individuals in Libya have them arrested by the Libyan government if it ever happens. I agree that I'm getting frustrated with how long that's taken. The strategy is incomplete.
Wait a minute, that doesn't wash with me at all. If you think about the gunfight, I mean, they landed on a beach in Somalia. Navy SEALs did yesterday. They landed on a beach in Somalia, go into this gunfight of a town, hotbed of a town, exchanging gunfire back and forth. It doesn't get hotter than that. I mean, you're putting our men and women in harm's way there. What's the difference?
Well, the difference is that part of it's situational. In some cases, they may have a militia around them, and then sending in a small unit is going to be extremely dangerous. In this case in Somalia, you're going after the top leader there. I mean, that's a big prize. So they would argue that's worth it.
Sends? So we're basically saying you attack a mall in Kenya, and we're going to find you. But if you kill our ambassador, maybe we'll get around to it.
Right, and I agree with that criticism because we have to go after all of them, especially because if you take out the head, then another guy just replaces them. And so it's very important to let anyone that's involved in an operation like that know that we're going to hunt you down regardless of your rank. And so an example of that incomplete strategy would be the fact that there's an Al-Qaeda affiliate in Nigeria called Boko Haram that does the type of things that we saw in Kenya all the time. They attack churches on an almost weekly basis, but they're not listed as a foreign terrorist organization officially. It's an attempt to narrow down the conflict to as little as possible so that we don't have to get involved in a broader conflict. And I think it's just not reality. You have to go after all of Al-Qaeda's affiliates, and you have to go through go battle the ideology that drives them.
Is Somalia the main focus now?
Africa is becoming more of the main focus, but you can't narrow it down to just one country like Somalia. For example, the government of Eritrea, which is run by a guy that claims to be a Christian, has been financing and supporting al-Shabaab. Why isn't his government listed as a state sponsor of terrorism?
Good question.
We've been threatening it since 2009. Let's get it done.
Right.
Ryan Mauro, nice to see you this morning.
Nice to see you.
Appreciate it.
8 minutes after the hour.